Okay, right now we're going to start setting up our user routes, and instead of having all everything mixed up in just one file here, we're going to have a separate file. We're going to have a separate folder on our backend, which we're going to call routes. Okay, and in here we're going to have a file called user routes.js, and in this file we're going to bring in express. We're going to say const express equal to require express, so can use its express router. So here we're going to say router is going to be express dot router, capital R, with a set of parentheses here. We're going to export it. Module dot exports is equal to router. Now instead of app.get and app.post, we're going to use this router.post or router.get. So I'm going to use router.post here, and we're going to add the where we are going, the routes there, and then the arrow function in here as usual, and this is going to take the request and the response. For now we're just going to send a response, res.send, and we're going to say register routes. Now in order to use it in our server.js, now we'll need to, okay, we'll be using app.get and the rest. Now most likely I'm going to remove all of this for the now. So I'm going to use app.use, and the endpoint we want to use is going to be slash users slash API slash users, and we're going to connect it to that route file. So we're going to use required, and I'm going to put the link to that. I think here we are here. Let's see. I will go. I think I need to go a step backward now. So dot slash dot slash is it dot no, it's gonna be just dots routes slash user routes. I'm just gonna add a comment here to say routes, comment it out. Okay, so now if I go over to slash API slash users from my postman, let's go over slash API slash users, and then I hit send, then we should get a response. Oh, I'm getting all users fetched. I need to check my code. Oh, okay, I made some changes which I have not saved, so I think I need to save everything. Save this one and save this as well. Now user routes, okay, because I've cleared those other ones before. So you know the way it works. When I go to slash API slash users and slash nothing, that is according to this guy here. If I send a post request to slash nothing, it's going to bring out this now. Okay, so this is like the starting point of what I'm using as a starting point of every route now. So slash API slash users, then look at this now to see what should follow this. Okay, so if just a slash follow, that's if nothing follows it now, then I want to trigger this now, register routes, and that is what I have now. So you will see slash API slash is the gets. I think here we made it a post request. So I'll go over to postman and then send it again, register routes. Okay, so we are able to hit this endpoint now. Okay, so now if I want to like log in the user, I'm using this this is what I use to connect to all my route now. So API slash, so if I want to have something like slash API slash user slash login, then I'm going to look into this route file and then add a slash login to it now. So then I'm going to copy this one out now, and then um, this is now going to be slash login. So login user. So I'm going to save this now. So when I send a post request now to that now, so API slash users, then from the route file slash login, then I get this login users. Okay. Okay, so now I stated here, so we could have all our register and login logics within the curly braces of the arrow functions here. Okay, within the curly braces of the arrow functions here. So we could have all of our logic now, but it's cleaner to have a separate controller function to handle them. Okay, so we're going to have a separate controller function that's going to have all of our logic now, so that we don't inject too many codes in here, and too many login codes that's going to do all of the um, complexities here. Okay, so we're going to have a separate controller for that. So in our backend, we're going to have another folder called controllers, and in there we're going to create a file called user controllers. Okay, so right here in our backend now, just like we have routes, now we're going to have controllers now. Controllers. Okay, and then in here we're going to have user controllers.js. I'm going to make it singular controller. Okay, so in here we're going to have const register user. It's going to be this. Now we're going to have request, and we're going to take the request and the response. So what the controller does is that it helps you do whatsoever you want to do within the routes here. So everything you want to do here is now going to be done in the controller. So I'm just going to copy this to the controller, and this is exactly what I want to do. So let's change this to user login routes. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing for create a controller also for the login user. So here I'm going to change this to login user, and just as before, it's going to do exactly what I wanted to do within the within this place now, within the routes. Okay, so I'm going to do it right here. Okay, so now in our user controller, we're going to export all of this same module dot exports. This time I'm exporting two things. You know, from here and I was exporting one, so I just export this now. So this one I'm going to be exporting an object now, register user and login user, so it can be accessible from wherever I need them. So the next thing is to bring them into the user routes file. So I'm going to const this. So I'm going to import so and so, just the same way we're doing in React on before. Import this. I'm going to require, sorry, it's require. So I'm going to import from, okay, I'm here, so I want to import from this one. So I'm just going to, let's see, import. I'll put a double dot there and then a slash. So from controllers slash user controllers. So what I want to import from there are these two things I exported. Okay, let's put this in autosave. So now instead of directly adding the function, the arrow function that should be executed when we hit this route, now I am going to call register user. Let's give it space. So I'm going to call this now. So I'm going to get rid of all of this function that should be executed that initially executed this now, because this is now done in the user controller. So I'm just going to state that everything I want to do when I hit this now is found inside this controller. So now the next one, everything I want to do when I hit slash login now is found inside this controller. So this way now we have a neater code. So with this now we should have the same result as before. Okay, so if we go over to Postman now and then we hit this guy slash login, we have login route. When we send a post request to just the slash now, we should still have register routes. Okay, now just to go over it again where we're coming from, you know, we started all the way from our server now, and then we say we have this initial app.get now, which is the default way of creating our routes now. You know, we can have app.get, app.post now. Then we did this now, and if we are using app.get and then we just go over to the routes like this now, what we're going to get is this. So we're sending a get request. Oh, let's see, no, slash nothing. So localhost 5000 will get this welcome to support desk API. Okay, and that is what you have here because we hit the get now. If we hit the post, if we send a post request, do we have anything for the post request? You see, we don't have anything for sending a post request of slash nothing. Okay, so that's why we were getting this fall for not found there. Now going forward now for the routes, now we created the routes here like this. Now we use app.use. So when we go to, we use this as the starting point for all our routes here, for all our users routes. So we say API slash users now, then slash whatsoever is found in this route file. So from our server we went over to our user routes file, and then from our user routes file we went over to our user controllers. Okay, so here now slash API slash users. So if I hit the let's see in this routes files now, what do I have? I have posts. I have to post request there. So if I hit the post request here for just slash nothing, when I get here, it's going to take me to what register routes, because in our routes file now slash nothing talks about this now. And to see what logic is happening here, you see is coming from the user controller now, because we imported all of this from the user controller, and slash login is going to take us to login routes as well. Okay, so from server to user routes to what user controller, and that is the order I always follow. Although in a large application you could have several routes. Okay, this is just API slash users. Now you could have different routes, all of them having their different route files. Okay, so depending on the structure, and inside of this route now you could have different controllers as well. Now it's always a good practice to use comments to add some details to your routes. So I'm going to add a comment here. I'm going to add a description. I'm going to say register a new user, and another what routes routes is going to be is coming from slash API slash users, and then the access, who can have access to it. Now does it require authentication before one can access it, or so on and so forth now. So I'm going to say public. Okay, so everyone can access it. Definitely everyone can register. And then I'm going to do the same thing for this now. For this login routes now, to access it now, it's going to be API slash user slash login. Okay, so this helps you when you look at a particular controller, you just know details about it. Okay, so API slash users will trigger this now, and API slash user slash login is going to trigger this now. And so this is part of good documentation. Okay,